Blood in the dust, Jack Harmon opened his eyes to darkness and the taste of blood. His head throbbed as he pushed against the concrete slab, pinning his legs. Dust filled his lungs with each desperate breath. The ground shook as another blast hit nearby. The Krell weren't finished with Outpost Vega yet. Anyone alive? He called out, voice raw. Only the rumble of distant explosions answered him. With a grunt, Jack braced his shoulders and pushed. The concrete shifted just enough for him to drag himself free. Pain shot through his left leg, but nothing felt broken. Lucky. He crawled through the wreckage of what had been the colony's main communications hub just hours ago. Bodies lay scattered among broken equipment and shattered glass. People he'd worked with for months. Friends. Jack wiped blood from his eyes and checked his wrist device. Emergency power only. No signal. This is Jack Harmon, civilian engineer. Anyone on this frequency? Static answered him. The colony's defense grid had failed within minutes of the Krell ships appearing in orbit. No warning. No time to evacuate. Just sudden, overwhelming force. Jack limped toward what remained of the east corridor. The ceiling had collapsed, but a narrow gap remained. He squeezed through, ignoring the sharp edges that tore at his jumpsuit. A sound stopped him cold. A wet, clicking noise. Not human. Jack grabbed a broken pipe from the floor and held his breath. Around the corner, a Krell scout lay dying, purple blood pooling beneath its armored body. The alien's 4 eyes fixed on Jack as he approached. Human, it clicked through its translator. She is here. The woman. Jack tightened his grip on the pipe. What woman? What are you talking about? The alien's breathing quickened. No armor, no sound. Predators knew exactly who she was. Its limbs twitched once, then went still. Jack noticed something clutched in the alien's claw. A small device, glowing faintly. He pried it loose and stuffed it in his pocket. Might be valuable. Might be nothing. The building shook again. The second wave was coming. Jack needed shelter, fast. He stumbled down the emergency stairwell to the lower levels. Most doors were sealed or blocked, but one slid open at his approach. Strange. This section should have lost power with the rest. The room beyond was dark, except for a single blue light. Jack stepped inside, pipe raised. It was a small lab he'd never seen before, not on any colony blueprints he'd worked with. In the center stood a stasis pod, its systems humming quietly despite the destruction above. Jack approached slowly. The pod's surface was frosted, but he could make out a human form inside. A woman. He wiped the condensation from the viewing panel. Her face was pale, almost ghostly. Military-grade neural implants traced patterns along her temples and neck. Tattoos he didn't recognize marked her shoulders. "Who the hell are you?" he whispered. The building rocked with another impact, closer this time. Jack glanced at the ceiling as dust rained down. They were running out of time. He studied the pod's control panel. Standard emergency release. Jack hit the sequence and stepped back as the pod hissed open. The woman didn't move. Her breathing was shallow, barely visible. "Hey," Jack touched her shoulder. "We need to go. Now." Through the broken ceiling, he could see the sky darkening with Krell ships. Hundreds of them, blocking out the sun. Jack reached to lift the woman from the pod when her hand suddenly shot up, grabbing his throat with inhuman strength. Her eyes snapped open, glowing with an unnatural blue light that matched the pod's systems. "Who sent you?" she demanded, her voice barely human. Jack couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. The woman's fingers tightened as her eyes bore into his. Jack clawed at the woman's fingers, his vision darkening at the edges. He managed to choke out a single word. "Krell." Her grip loosened slightly. The blue glow in her eyes dimmed. "The Krell are here?" she asked, voice raspy from disuse. Jack nodded frantically, gasping as she released him. He fell back against the wall, rubbing his throat. "They're bombing the whole colony." Everyone's dead or dying. The woman sat up in the pod, movements precise despite just waking. She scanned the room with military efficiency. How long was I under? I don't know. I just found you. Jack pulled the alien device from his pocket. A dying Krell had this. Said something about a woman before it died. Her eyes narrowed at the sight of the device. In one fluid motion, she snatched it from his hand and pressed it against her temple. The implants on her skin pulsed with light. My name is Vale, she said after a moment. That's all you need to know for now. Another explosion rocked the building. Closer this time. We need to move, Vale said, swinging her legs out of the pod. She wore a simple black bodysuit that seemed to absorb light. There's a maintenance hangar on the west side, Jack said. Might still have a shuttle. Vale nodded and moved to a hidden panel in the wall. She pressed her palm against it, and the section slid open to reveal a small arsenal. Can you shoot? She asked, tossing him a compact pistol. Jack caught it awkwardly. I'm an engineer, not a soldier. Today, you're both. She grabbed a sleek rifle and several devices Jack didn't recognize. They made their way through the ruined corridors, stepping over debris and bodies. Jack struggled to keep up with Vale's silent, efficient movements. The Krell had been hunting me across 3 star systems, she said as they paused at a junction. This data contains coordinates to a military installation that could change everything. Change what? The war's been going on for years. Vale's expression hardened. It's about to get worse. A chittering sound echoed from ahead. Krell ground troops. Stay behind me, Vale whispered. Before Jack could respond, she moved around the corner. What happened next burned itself into his memory. Vale became a blur of motion. Her rifle fired with barely a sound, dropping 2 Krell instantly. When a third rushed her, she sidestepped with impossible speed, driving a blade into the gap in its armor. 5 Krell soldiers, dead in seconds. No wasted movement, no hesitation. Jack stared at her, mouth open. What are you? Later, she said, already moving again. They reached the hangar to find it partially collapsed. A single shuttle remained intact, though its hull was scorched from nearby explosions. Can you fly it? Vale asked. Jack nodded. If it still works. They climbed aboard, and Jack's hands flew over the controls. The engine sputtered and roared to life. Get us into orbit, Vale said, strapping herself in. I'll handle any pursuit. The shuttle lifted off shakily, pushing through the smoke and debris. Through the viewport, Jack saw the full extent of the destruction. The colony was gone, reduced to burning rubble. As they broke atmosphere, alarms blared. 3 Krell interceptors on their tail. We can't outrun those, Jack said, panic rising in his voice. Vale moved to the weapons console. We don't need to outrun them. As she worked the controls, Jack noticed her hands trembling slightly. You okay? The stasis drugs haven't fully cleared my system, she admitted. And my enhancements are draining me faster than usual. Enhancements? Vale's eyes met his, that unnatural blue glow returning briefly. I was part of Ghost Protocol, an experimental super soldier program. Her voice turned bitter. It went very wrong. The shuttle rocked as enemy fire grazed their shields. Vale returned fire, destroying 1 interceptor. What happened to the program? Jack asked, wrestling with the controls. Everyone died, she said flatly. Except me. The shuttle's engines whined in protest as Jack pushed them to maximum. The remaining interceptors closed in. Vale suddenly clutched her head, crying out in pain. The neural implants on her skin flashed erratically. What's happening? Jack shouted. They're trying to get in my head, she gasped. The administrator at Mining Colony Bravo. Get us there. That's Krell territory now. Exactly where they won't expect us to go, Vale said through gritted teeth. The shuttle lurched as another hit connected. Systems failed across the board. We're going down, Jack warned, fighting the controls. As they plummeted toward the mining colony, Vale's eyes rolled back, revealing only glowing blue. "They're waiting for us," she whispered, in a voice not entirely her own. The shuttle hit the ground hard, skidding across the rocky terrain of mining colony Bravo. Metal screamed as the hull tore open along one side. Jack's head slammed against the control panel, and everything went black for a moment. When he came to, smoke filled the cabin. Vale was already on her feet, checking the damage. "Can you move?" she asked, her voice steady despite the blood running down her face. Jack tested his limbs. Bruised but functional. "Yeah. How long was I out?" "2 minutes. We need to go before they find us." They climbed out through the torn hull into the dim light of the mining colony. Massive drilling platforms loomed in the distance. The air smelled of sulfur and metal. "Stay low," Vale whispered, pulling Jack behind a rock formation as a searchlight swept over the crash site. "You said they're waiting for us." "Who?" Vale's eyes narrowed. "The Krell have a new weapon, neural parasites. They take over human hosts." Jack felt cold despite the planet's heat. Like mind control? Worse, the person is still in there, watching themselves serve the Krell. Vale checked her rifle. This colony went silent 3 weeks ago. Now we know why. They moved through the shadows toward the main settlement. Jack grabbed parts from the wreckage power cells, communication modules, tools, old habits. "What are you doing?" Vale asked. "I'm an engineer, remember? I might be able to build something useful." She nodded. "Good thinking." The settlement appeared normal at first glance. Lights on, equipment running, people moving about their tasks. Too normal. A man in an administrator's uniform approached them, smiling widely. "Survivors." "Thank goodness. We detected your crash." Jack started to respond, but Vale's hand on his arm stopped him. "Thank you for the welcome, Administrator," she said carefully. A man's smile never wavered. "Let's get you both to medical. You look injured." As he turned to lead them, Jack saw Vale tense. The Administrator's eyes had flashed a brief blue glow, similar to Vale's, but somehow wrong. "Now," Vale whispered, shoving Jack aside as she raised her weapon. The Administrator moved with inhuman speed, his friendly facade dropping instantly. His mouth opened too wide, revealing teeth that no human should have. Vale fired 3 shots. The Administrator dropped, purple blood mixing with red. Alarms blared throughout the settlement. People stopped their tasks and turned as one toward Jack and Vale. "Run," Vale ordered. They sprinted between buildings as colonists pursued them, moving with the same unnatural coordination. Jack followed Vale into a storage facility, helping her seal the heavy door behind them. "What now?" he gasped. "We need to contact the Resistance. There's still a human fleet out there." Jack dumped his salvaged parts on a workbench. "I can build a long-range communicator, but I need time. I'll buy you some." Vale positioned herself by the door, checking her weapons. Jack worked frantically, connecting circuits and power sources. His hands moved with practiced precision, despite the fear coursing through him. "Why are they mining here?" he asked, trying to stay calm. "What's so important about this rock?" "Neurite," Vale said. "Rare mineral. Key component in Krell bioweapons." Something clicked in Jack's mind. "That's why they want you. Your enhancements. They're trying to perfect their neural control technology." Vale's silence confirmed his theory. "How did you resist it?" he asked. "My genetic makeup. I was the only one in the program who didn't go insane or die." Her voice grew quiet. "Sometimes I wish I had." Jack finished the communicator and activated it. Static filled the air, then cleared. "This is Mining Colony Bravo, requesting emergency assistance. Code Black." A response came almost immediately. "This is Captain Lawson of the Resistance vessel Defiant. Authenticate." Vale took the communicator. "Ghost Protocol. Agent Vale. Authentication Sierra 905. A pause. Authentication confirmed. What's your situation? Colony compromised. Need immediate extraction. I have critical intelligence on Krell operations. Understood, but we have troubling news. Earth has gone silent. No communications for weeks. Jack and Vale exchanged looks of horror. No contact at all? Vale asked. None. We fear the worst. The door to the storage facility shuddered as something heavy slammed against it. We need that extraction now, Jack said, sending coordinates for rendezvous. But be advised, our long-range scanners just picked up a transmission from Earth. What did it say? Vale demanded. It didn't say anything. It showed humans fighting alongside Krell forces. Against other humans. The door burst open. Colonists poured in, eyes glowing with that unnatural blue light. Vale grabbed Jack and pulled him toward a back exit. We need a faster ship. As they ran, Jack saw something in Vale's expression he hadn't seen before. Fear. 3 days later, their stolen mining ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near a dense asteroid field. Jack's hands were steady on the controls, despite his exhaustion. They had barely escaped the mining colony, fighting through waves of infected humans to reach the landing pads. There, Vale pointed to a gap between two massive asteroids. The coordinates lead there. Jack guided the ship through the narrow passage. Asteroid fragments pinged against the hull. I don't see anything, he said. Vale pressed the alien device against her neural implants again. The blue glow spread across her skin. Keep going. It's hidden. As they cleared the asteroids, space itself seemed to ripple. A massive structure appeared where nothing had been before. A space station built into the largest asteroid, its surface dotted with weapon emplacements and hangar bays. Stealth field, Jack whispered. I've never seen one this big. A communication system crackled to life. Unidentified vessel, you have entered restricted space. Identify or be destroyed. Vale leaned forward. This is Agent Vale. Ghost Protocol. I have the Krell data package. Silence then. Proceed to docking bay 3. Any deviation will result in immediate termination. Armed soldiers met them at the airlock, weapons raised. A tall man with gray hair and admiral's insignia stepped forward. Stand down, he ordered his men. I know her. Admiral Kincaid, Vale said, tension visible in her stance. I didn't expect to find you here. And I thought you were dead. The admiral's eyes moved to Jack. Who's this? Jack Harmon, engineer from Outpost Vega. He helped me escape. Kincaid nodded curtly. Follow me, both of you. They walked through sterile corridors filled with military personnel. Everyone moved with purpose, faces grim. What is this place? Jack asked. Last Hope Station, Kincaid replied. What's left of Earth's real military. They entered a command center filled with screens showing battle data and star maps. One large screen displayed Earth, surrounded by Krell ships. Earth's government surrendered 3 months ago, Kincaid said. Rolled over without a fight when the Krell threatened orbital bombardment. That's not possible, Jack said. We would have heard. They controlled the news. Controlled everything. Kincaid's face hardened. Then came the neural parasites. Millions infected in weeks. Vale placed the alien device on a scanner. This has the location of every Krell Hive ship in the sector. And something else plans for a new type of neural weapon. Kincaid studied the data as it appeared on screen. This could change everything. Well done, Agent. Jack noticed how Vale flinched at the title. Something wasn't right. I need to know more about Ghost Protocol, Jack said. About what happened to Vale. Kincaid and Vale exchanged looks. Show him, Vale said finally. Kincaid led them deeper into the station, to a laboratory filled with stasis pods similar to the one Jack had found Vale in. Most were empty. Some contained bodies. Ghost Protocol was our last hope, Kincaid explained. Create soldiers who could resist Krell mind control. Infiltrate their networks. Jack moved between the pods, reading names on the displays. He stopped suddenly, his blood going cold. Peter Harmon. He turned to Vale, his voice shaking. My brother was part of this? He volunteered, Kincaid said. One of the first. You told me everyone died except you, Jack said to Vale. They did. Her voice was hollow. Jack stared at the empty pod with his brother's name. Where is he? Before anyone could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. We're under attack, Kincaid barked into his communicator. Battle stations. On the monitors, ships appeared Krell vessels, but also human ships bearing Earth's insignia. They found us, Kincaid said. Prepare the prototype. What prototype? Jack demanded. A weapon that can disrupt the Krell hive mind, Vale explained. It's why I brought the data here. Suddenly, Vale doubled over in pain. Her implants flashed erratically, and she screamed. What's happening to her? Jack grabbed Kincaid's arm. Her connection to the hive mind is activating, Kincaid said, too calmly. It's what she was designed for. Designed? Jack looked between them in horror. Vale raised her head, blood trickling from her nose. Her eyes glowed brighter than ever. I remember now, she whispered. I know what I am. She looked at Jack, tears mixing with blood on her face. I'm not human anymore. I never was. I'm the weapon. The station shook as enemy weapons found their mark. Jack steadied himself against a wall, his mind racing to process Vale's words. What do you mean you're not human? He demanded. Kincaid stepped between them. She's a hybrid. Human DNA, spliced with Krell neural tissue. Your brother helped create her. You made her to infiltrate them, Jack said, understanding dawning. To control them. To save humanity, Kincaid corrected. Now we need to get her to the weapon chamber. Another blast rocked the station. Emergency lights flashed red. Admiral! A soldier burst into the lab. Earth forces have breached Hangar 6. Krell troops are right behind them. Seal all bulkheads, Kincaid ordered. We need 10 minutes. Jack looked at Vale. She stood straighter now, the pain seemingly under control. Her eyes still glowed, but differently more focused. You knew, Jack said to her. You knew what you were. I suspected, she admitted, but they wiped my memory after each mission. The stasis pod you found me in was a reset point. Kincaid grabbed Vale's arm. We don't have time for this. The prototype is ready. Jack blocked their path. Ready for what? What happens to her? She connects to the hive mind completely, Kincaid explained impatiently. Deploys the weapon from inside their network. And then? Kincaid's silence was answer enough. It will kill her, Jack realized. You're sending her on a suicide mission. One life for billions, Kincaid said coldly. The math is simple. Gunfire echoed from nearby corridors. They were running out of time. There has to be another way, Jack insisted. Vale touched his arm. Jack, I've seen inside their minds. The Krell aren't what we thought. What do you mean? They're refugees, she said, running from something worse. Something coming from deep space. Kincaid's face hardened. Don't listen to her. The Krell connection is affecting her mind. No, Vale said firmly. I'm seeing clearly for the first time. The parasites were their desperate attempt to create allies. They did it wrong, horribly wrong, but they're scared. Jack looked between them, then made his decision. He pulled out the pistol Vale had given him and pointed it at Kincaid. Show me the prototype, he said. Now, the weapon chamber was at the station's core, a massive room, dominated by a pulsing device connected to what looked like a modified stasis pod. It targets the parasitic aspect of Krell biology, Jack said, examining the controls. But it would kill Vale too because of her hybrid nature. It's the only way, Kincaid insisted. Jack's engineering mind raced. Not necessarily. I can modify it to target only the control mechanism, not the neural tissue itself. There's no time. Make time, Jack said, his gun still trained on Kincaid. As Jack worked, the battle raged throughout the station. Screens showed three forces colliding: Earth's assimilated troops, pure Krell warriors, and the station's defenders. "They're almost here," Vale warned, her implants pulsing faster. Jack made the final adjustments. "Done. This should free the infected without killing the hosts. Or the Krell," Kincaid said bitterly. "Only those who choose to fight will die today," Jack replied. Vale stepped toward the modified pod. "I need to do this now." Jack grabbed her hand. "You don't have to sacrifice yourself. I was made for this moment," she said softly. "Let me choose my purpose." She kissed him quickly, then stepped into the pod. As it closed around her, her eyes met Jack's one last time. "Find me after," she whispered. The pod sealed. Vale's body arched as the connection formed. On the screens, they watched as the weapon's energy spread through the Krell network, jumping from ship to ship, planet to planet. Infected humans stopped fighting. Krell forces retreated in confusion. "It's working," Kincaid said in disbelief. The energy wave expanded further than they'd predicted, reaching across dozens of worlds. Millions freed in an instant. Then the pod went dark. Vale lay motionless inside. "No," Jack whispered, rushing to open it. Her body was cold, lifeless. The implants dark. "She knew the risk," Kincaid said quietly. In the days that followed, an uneasy peace formed. The freed humans and a faction of Krell established communication. The war paused, if not ended. Jack refused to leave Vale's body. He built a lab around her, filled with equipment salvaged from across the station. "You need to let her go," Kincaid told him a week later. Jack didn't look up from his work. "I'm not trying to bring her back. I'm building something new." "What?" "A neural interface." Her consciousness wasn't destroyed. It was scattered across the former hive mind. As if in response, the speakers in the room crackled with static, then cleared. "Jack," Vale's voice, distant but unmistakable. "I'm still here." Jack smiled for the first time in days. "I know. I'll find you." The static returned, then formed words that chilled both men. "They're coming. The real predators are coming."